It's been a couple of years since I talked about why I leased my Tesla. The first one I got, my recent two were financed, and I thought it made sense to do an update as my brother actually, I helped him with this purchase of a new Model 3, and he was debating between leasing and buying, and actually placed an order for a lease and then changed his mind to financing the car later. So I want to kind of go through some of the reasons why and break down the costs as they have changed. The overall reasons are generally the same, but as Tesla has updated their lease pricing, what they require upfront as far as payment, and we think about tax credit and the new interest rates, it may affect your decision today. That would have been different a couple of years ago, and now 4 years ago for me when I last leased my first Model 3 and then decided to finance. So as we get into this, I want to kind of share some of the specific numbers of this situation. So I have the main website up, but I'm actually going to first take you into the order agreement. So this was the order my brother recently placed for a rear-wheel drive existing inventory Model 3. Pro tip, at least as of today, the existing inventory is discounted. So I would actually recommend looking at that if you have any in your areas. It's essentially 1,000 or more cheaper than placing a brand new order if you're looking to get delivery as soon as possible. But if you look at this order agreement hasn't changed much. So when I actually ordered my car since 2019, the main differences here, as well as the ones I purchased in 2021, is the destination fee and the order fee are different. So Tesla over the last few years, it was a $1,200 destination fee. It's now almost $1,400. And then the order fee used to be $100 and is now $250, which is really annoying because if you are ordering that, some people thought that this order fee goes towards the credit of the vehicle. It does not. You have to pay this fee on top of all the other taxes and fees and the price of the car. And so when you are even referred, that just negates the order fee. Now you don't really get any big discount on the vehicle. So it's pretty much just covering the order fee with a total of $40,380 for a brand new base Model 3. Then of course, what are the taxes and fees, the interest rates that will be on top of that? And so generally over the life of the vehicle, you are going to be paying a lot more if you're financing. This will be closer to 50,000 plus at the end of your finance term because of the interest rate, which is north of 6%. It's about, they gave us a 6.6% auto interest rate for financing the vehicle. Or if you're leasing the car, this specific model will be the base Model Y is as low as $399 a month, which is as low as it's ever been. And then for the Model 3, they're actually advertising $329 a month. And so that is very attractive as it's pretty below other premium cars in that segment. However, what this isn't covering right away, which you need to look at, which is more than I paid down back in 2019, is the taxes and fees that they are collecting up front. So generally, when you're looking at this, what it doesn't tell you is that what's due up front, whether you finance or lease, and some of this can be changed a little bit later, is that you're going to be paying $4,500 down. And traditional cars, if you're talking to a dealer, when you're ordering a vehicle, usually the $4,500 down is negotiable, and you're pretty much asking, what is the out the door price? Like, how much money should I be expected to put down today in cash so that I can get this vehicle, whether it is a lease or a finance? But when you're looking at Tesla, regardless of these incentives, if as you go through this, I would highly recommend this exercise, is that you are going to be paying potentially $4,500 down for financing because taxes and fees can be rolled into your loan for the monthly payment. But for leasing, you're going to have to pay those fees up front since you cannot just roll that into a monthly payment. So as you scroll all the way down, pick the vehicle you want, whether you're ordering new or existing inventory, and hit continue. This is another one. This is interesting, right? It's actually offering me, and this is to give you an example, instead of ordering new, they're saying, hey, you can get one now and save, wow, $2,400, which is amazing. That's actually a really good price. Review it later and you come to this screen. So the details here are on the right here. So this is saying, what is your estimated cash price, your lease price, and your loan price? And so when you look at the details here, this says $4,500 down at 6.69% annual percentage rate over 72 months, includes $1,400 destination fee, excludes taxes and other fees, etc. But this doesn't mean this is actually still rolled into the loan, but the terms is the same as the lease. So this also says includes the lease incentives that has been distributed over the lease term and the destination fee as part of it. It's not really part of the down. It actually adds on top. So this is language that I think is an error on the Tesla website. But if you look to customize payment, this is where you can get the actual breakdown. The reason why this down payment is less is because it's calculating on that discounted rate for buying an existing inventory vehicle. But when you come down here, click include taxes and fees, and this will load, and then you kind of get the real reality of what you need to pay upfront, which is closer now to $7,000 if you are leasing. And so this vehicle price, we add the destination fee, you add the order fee, but these are fees that are new that I don't believe I had to pay at all when I was leasing for the first time. But this is $1,100 in fees, which is an acquisition and disposition fee. What this means is there's a cost to acquire the vehicle that they build into leasing, and then they are charging you upfront the return fee for when you inevitably have to return the lease back to Tesla after 2 or 3 years, which are your lease options. You have a 24-month lease, which is new, and then the traditional 36-month lease. So it's $400. Pretty common in the industry to have a fee when you return a vehicle, although those typically are negotiable, especially if you are like repurchasing, either buying out the vehicle or leasing again. There's ways to negotiate with the dealership, like what you have to do. My brother actually had a Mazda 3, and because the vehicle was worth more than the buyout price of his lease, they completely waived any extra charges when he was ending his lease, including any disposition fee. So that was really great. But with Tesla, you're paying that $1,100 right up front. Then you'll get an estimation for the upfront tax that you have to pay, which is a portion of the vehicle you're putting down. And then the registration amount, which is much higher in Arizona than it used to be. So at the end of that, that's $6,669 in my brother's case, because the existing inventory discount didn't apply just even 1 month ago. That's newer. This was north of $7,000. So that is something that you have to have that in cash. And then when you take your estimated lease payment, which is $337 per month, when that includes your monthly tax, you're going to be closer to $20,000 over the course of 3 years to lease this vehicle. So that's the real reality. When you see the $329 a month, or in this case, the $307, just keep in mind that's not including all the upfront fees and taxes you have to pay, as well as the monthly. So when you're financing, those can be rolled into the total loan agreement that you are buying, and you can still actually get away with a smaller amount upfront. Now, that being said, I wanted to kind of share like the reality of the leasing. Here's the example with the financing. You see that the disposition fee and the acquisition fee are no longer here. And then the actual estimate due at signing is still $4,500. And it is because you can roll all the other fees into the loan. Just keep in mind, you will be paying 6.69% interest on anything you are taking a loan out for. Now, that being said, the question is why should you lease versus finance, right? That's a big question. It's very popular to search, and generally for most people, you hear financing is better, but really it just depends on your financial situation and your confidence and your peace of mind and what you want to do with your vehicle, especially with aftermarket. Since with leasing with Tesla, you will have zero option to buy it. If you do lease this car, you have to return it. There's no longer today in 2023 any even third-party dealer buyouts, which was something that was actually available to me a couple of years ago that they since have not allowed. So this is a mandatory, the vehicle must be returned to Tesla, and then you can decide to lease again or buy. So there's no buyout option. There's also no tax credit, not really. So when you lease a vehicle, you're not able to claim that on your taxes and get a $7,500 tax credit in the following year. Tesla has, in order to give the lower lease prices, built that into the monthly fee, and that's why we're seeing lower monthly fees for these vehicles than we didn't before, when leases were, about $75 a month more expensive, maybe a little bit more, especially during COVID. I have this screen up because for some, you just may not financially qualify. So there may be one where if your income doesn't qualify, or you don't have enough tax liability to take advantage of the full tax credit, leasing might be slightly more attractive to you because you can kind of gain the benefit of the tax credit without needing some sort of income requirement, since that's built into the lease price. If you are financing the vehicle and you are eligible for the tax credit, that can be attractive as well, because over the course of 3 years, you may decide to sell the vehicle, and the vehicle at the time may be worth more than all of the payments that's left on the loan, and you can actually like kind of recoup some money back. So the total cost over several years may be cheaper than leasing if you wanted to go through the hassle of selling the car. Now, if you're someone who loves technology, or even if you don't love technology, but you like to get a new vehicle every once in a while, leasing kind of gives you that peace of mind to know, hey, at the end of the lease term, I can get a brand new vehicle. I don't have to worry about selling it. I'm not locked into a really, really long-term contract with a vehicle beyond 3 years. And maybe that's attractive to you, but just keep in mind, because of the upfront costs, there are limits there as far as it's not really going to be financially saving you money, but it is giving you that peace of mind that you know you'll get a new vehicle. In this case, there will be a refresh version of the Tesla Model 3 that is coming, very soon, probably next year. And the value of this vehicle will go down because there are quite a bit of enhancements and improvements to the upcoming vehicle that the only main real reason to keep this is if you somehow thought this was aesthetically more pleasing. And then on the interior, the new Tesla Model 3 will not have any stalks on the steering wheel, but generally most people have said you get used to that quite quickly. Outside of that, the main other reasons to lease versus buy is if you do any modifications to this vehicle whatsoever. So for example, like tinting is really popular. These cars do not come tinted, with the exception of the Model Y has the glass tinted. And some people still tint it because you want to get more heat rejection, which a layer of tint versus just the glass being tinted is helpful. Is tinting is going to cost you, $300 to $600 depending on where you're doing it. And of course, when you return the vehicle with a lease, you won't get that money back. Some like to PPF and protect the paint, or put some ceramic coating on that. And any of those type of investments or modifications, if you want to get new wheels or do any modifications, it makes much more sense to finance that car, as doing those modifications during a lease may risk any voiding a warranty. You won't be able to get that cost back, and Tesla might even make you remove some modifications at the end of the lease, since you have to pay for excess wear and tear. The other pieces to keep in mind is leasing does require you to have a certain insurance level. You cannot just get bare minimum insurance on a car like you could if you own it. Like, you get to choose how much coverage that you want, but with leasing, there's minimum requirements in order to have the lease. So your insurance premium may be higher than you want to pay. And so that's something to keep in mind. But at the end of the day, it is going to be up to you. Financially, it's a slightly if you're always about like, what is the least amount of cost I can pay over the life of the vehicle, financing may be a better option for you, since you have a lot more control, since you have the ownership of the vehicle. With leasing, there's a lower monthly payment, but a much higher by thousands of dollars upfront payment, but you can return the vehicle, which is the only option at the end of the lease. Tesla has a couple of things with like early termination options, but you just will not be able to buy the car. So that's something to keep in mind. Getting this lease also might be safer today because there's a refresh version coming out soon. So again, it is individual for your situation and your financial situation. So I hope this video helps when making that choice and you have more clarity. And just please take a look at customizing the payment when you are coming to this screen, so you really can get an idea of how much money to put down, how long of a term that you want to take on a loan or a lease. There's new options up to 84-month loans now that were not an option, that has a slightly higher APR. And then even from a lease perspective, there's a shorter term lease, which is a lot more expensive per month versus the traditional 36. If it were up to me, if you wanted the best bang for your buck and you do drive a decent amount, I would highly recommend, if you are going to lease, choose the 15,000 mile per year, if that makes sense, and you can take advantage of the miles. Because at the end of the day, if we look at the difference between 15,000 miles and 10,000, you're only paying about 10-12% more per month to get 50% more usage out of the vehicle on a per year basis, right? So you're getting 5,000 more miles per year for only 10 to 12% more money. So something else to think about. I hope this helps in your purchase experience. Thanks so much and have a good one. Take care.